Joint family system. Joint family system is a peculiar institution under the Hindu jurisprudence. The joint and undivided family is a normal condition of Hindu society. It consists of all persons linearly descended from a common ancestor and includes their wives and unmarried daughters. A daughter ceases to be a member of her father's family on marriage and becomes the member of her husband's family. The persons of a joint family live together, joint in food and worship, procure property. Of course, existence of a joint estate is not an essential requisite to constitute a joint family, and a family which does not own any property may nevertheless be joint. The Hindu law does not recognize a joint Hindu family or coparcenary as a juristic personality capable of holding property. As an entity separate from the members of the family, when it is popularly said that a property is joint family or coparcenary property, the true position in law is that the members collectively own it, each having an interest. The undivided family is not a corporation or even a sort of corporation as sometimes stated. The undivided family is not a judicial entity distinct from the members who constitute it. It cannot sue or to be sued in the joint family name and cannot convey the property held by its in its joint character. It has a peculiar characteristics. This type is not found in anywhere in the world. It is unique of all jurisprudences of the entire globe. Hence, the jurisprudent call it the Hindu joint family is a floating island. Even now, also, there are several joint Hindu families throughout India in agriculture holdings and business communities. Characteristics of a Hindu joint family. There are 7 characteristics of a Hindu joint family. The first one is patriarchal family, and second one is Mitakshara and Daya Bhaga. Third one is male domination. Fourth one is joint residence and economy. Fifth one is authority. Sixth one is women, and seventh one is wife and husband. Let's understand each of them. So, to continue with patriarchal family, which is the first characteristics of Hindu joint family, Indian village society is an ideal example for patriarchal family and also patrilineal system. In a very few localities, that too countable in figures, matriarchal and matrilineal family organizations are found. Talking about the second characteristics, that is Mitakshara and Dayabhaga, the Hindu Dharmashastra has vital effect upon the Hindu joint families throughout India. In the majority areas, Mitakshara law has been in existence. Dayabhaga is limited to Bengal and other few areas. And looking at third characteristic, that is male domination. Males are superior than females. Each male is entitled to an equal share of the family property from the moment of his birth. Hence, all brothers are coparcenaries, each entitled to the same share his father and brothers have. Women, whether in the status of daughter, wife, or widow, and entitled to maintenance only. They are entitled to maintenance only by their male kin, but under the ancient law, they had no other vested right in the family property. That's with reference to the Hindu Succession Act 1956 removed this bar. Now a female is equal with a male. She has also become a coparcener as her brother. Among brothers, authority rests with the elder. Some of the same respectful compliance that a son gives to his father. A young brother should give in formal terms at least to his elder brother. When an elder brother succeeds as head of the joint family, his younger brothers and their wives and children are supposed to give him the kind of elegance and obedience that the father commanded. Now, moving on with fourth characteristic of Hindu joint family, which is joint residence and economy. Joint ownership is assumed by law, and the assumption usually implies, though it does not require, joint residence and joint social and economic activities. Joint Hindu family property can be acquired only by birth or by marriage or by adoption. The fundamental principle of the Hindu joint family is the Spanidanship, Sapindarship, that is purely religious. The member of a joint family or coparcenary has the power to alienate his share, but it is restricted with moral and customary obligations. The quantity of coparcenary's interest of the member of a joint Hindu family fluctuates with the births or deaths in the family. A joint family may also be partitioned due to certain conflicts between the members. Among the very poor, the breach typically comes not long after the new bride is brought into the family. Early separation also occurs among families at the other end of the economic scale. Those with men in the modern professions, those families who own and cultivate and cultivate their land are likely to keep up the ideal pattern longer period. The ideal is acknowledged by almost all villagers, and this tends to prolong fraternal cohesion. Cohesion and cooperation are not completely severed when a family splits into smaller households. Even after the partition, which have taken place in bitterness, family lies are often repaired and same degree of mutual support is resumed. The fifth and interesting characteristic of Hindu joint family is authority. Age and sex are the main ordering principles in family hierarchy. The men have more decisive authority in the traditional Indian family as compared with women. Elders have great authority as compared with young persons. The difference of a year or two in age is sufficient to establish firmly who is the formal superior, as between the authority of an elder woman and a younger man, sex is the more important determinant. The joint family system is emanated from the principle of subordination. It is not coordination of equality of the members. Youngers give respect to elders. No, no two persons can be equal. One of them must be superior and other is inferior relatively to the other. The entire family is led by one person called Karta. Generally, the father is Karta of the joint family if alive, or his absence by other senior male member of the family for the time being. The Karta of Hindu joint family has the following powers. The first one is power over income and expenditure, followed by power of alienate. and then power to reference to arbitration. Going ahead, power to compromise, power to contract debits for family purpose, power to convent, power to give discharge, power to acknowledge debts, power to sue, and power to manage family business. He has duties and liabilities along with powers. They are to maintain the family, and paramount consideration is the welfare of the family, to look at all members of family equally, to incur the income in the appropriate manner for the development of joint family, not to do immoral acts and illegal acts which will harm the joint family members and their estate, not to incur avyavaharika debts, and the last but one characteristic of the Hindu joint family is a woman. Looking at this, men's and women's activities are sharply separated. In certain areas, in rich and middle class families, Prudha custom was existence. Generally, women can have only very limited visits and contacts outside the kinship circle. Only a small proportion of Indian families ever wanted or could afford to practice Prudha, but the principle of restricting women much more narrowly than men has been common. The wife of the senior man is the paramount authority in women's affairs, subject to only to the presence in the household of his mother, who must be heard out patiently and respectfully. Now, the last characteristic of Hindu joint family is wife and husband. A husband is expected to be his wife's superior and to receive symbolic and actual difference from her. There is no great expectation that the couple should share thoughts and tastes. This is not to say that conjugal love and devotion are any less than in other societies. Indeed, the devotion of the Indian wife bath in lesson and in fact is one of the proud values of family life. It is to say that the roles of man and women are markedly segregated. Wife helps her husband and family is in domestic and in their professional works. She is supposed to help to her husband. Such a in such areas such as agriculture, dairy, and many more, as per the part of their life. That completes explaining all the characteristics of Hindu joint family. Hope you enjoyed the characteristics of Hindu joint family. As usual, I request you to share it with the people who are pursuing their law and who are in the need of learning for their examination.